soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you.
I was based originally in Plymouth, and we lay there waiting orders for 5 hours. When we received orders, turn about and go back. And we steamed back another 5 hours or so to Plymouth and dropped our hook and waited. And after a further 5 or 6 hours, we got new orders, proceed up channel. And we kept that going at that for about 12 hours, I think. And we entered the collecting pool south of the Isle of Wight. And then we were sent in to load up with our tanks. And as I say, we got a load of Sherman tanks, I think 6 all told, but I'm not sure of that. So as soon as we were loaded up, we were sent out to the flotillas that were collected just south of the Isle of Wight. And then we set off for France. Well, we set off south, and that was obviously France. It was not the shortest crossing of the channel, which is Dover, Calais-Dover. It was which is very short. It was about 3 times that length to the more western part of France. And finally, shortly before, after dawn, we got right in alongside the beach in France. Now there were, I think it was 5 main beaches, 3 of which were British beaches, and obviously I was in the British forces, and 2 were American beaches, Omaha and Utah. Now we were sent to the American beach, to Omaha. You anchor from the stern in any craft. So we lowered the door down, and just, I think, soon after it got below level, and we had a look at it, and we found it was sitting on top of a mine tripod that was set in the sand. So we lifted it up very carefully and drew out and went on. I believe it was stated afterwards it was the worst beach. That's correct? Yeah. Well, I saw surprisingly little gunfire or any craft being blown up. I saw craft that had been blown up and hit, but I'm not aware of remembering a great deal of gunfire. I think I was so damn concerned with what's coming to come that I didn't note everything around me. I was too preoccupied with what was happening.
To be frightened?
Yeah. Anyway, we were sent to to Omaha Beach, Omaha. And when we got over there were quite a lot of craft there as well. And we were told to anchor and wait. As others, there were some large increasing numbers going ahead, trying to get in on the beach. And we anchored for some hours, again I can't remember how many. And we got no order to move in. And my skipper, a lieutenant, an Englishman of a rather, what was it called, temperamental type. After some hours there, he suddenly declared, "We're going in." And on that announcement, the commander of the tanks in our hole, came up to the bridge and said, "You can't go in, I can't go ashore, no one else is going." And he showed a flash of his true form, said, "You'll bloody well go ashore or I'll shoot you." And the tank commander looked disconcerted and went back to his tanks. Anyway, we got up a hook on our own, left all the other craft of the tiller still waiting, and we potted along the beach, which by this time had an awful lot of shipping, traffic on it, landing craft, everything, until we saw a gap and he managed to fit in. So we ran in to this gap on Omaha Beach. We lowered the door, and off drove the tanks. And we then waited a while, and we joined a collection of empty landing craft and other ships going back to the UK for a second load. And this time we were reloaded quite a few hours later. It's quite a long channel crossing and we're very slow, 5 or 6 knots. And we landed, I can't remember how many full loads of tanks we brought. I think it was 3, but I'm not sure. But after that, we were loaded up with vans, lorries, every sort of semi-military vehicle. And ultimately, we ended up by bringing over laundry lorries, of all things. I don't know how many days we worked backwards and forwards from the south of England to France, but when we finally came back, we were sent back to our bases. That was, we had been, as I said, in Plymouth, and we were then sent on where our original base was in the Clyde, so we steamed up the Irish Sea to Scotland and up the Clyde. One horrible thing, and it was most horrible because it was so quiet and so smooth, and it was in a landing craft a bit along the beach from us. The first tank drove down its door into the water. They weren't able to get right into the dry beach, and drove down into the usual 3 feet or 4 feet of water and continued on going down until it suddenly disappeared below the water, and it never reappeared up again with its full crew on board. And there wasn't a shot fired or a sound, it was all in sound. The landing craft that did that wasn't able to get fully into the beach before it grounded at the stern, which drew more water than the bow. And they must have lowered without knowing, right on the edge of a large hole that had been dug in the sandy bottom by previous landing craft, without being aware of it. So the door was laid on the edge of a pit in the bottom of the sea, and they drove down there, and as far as we ever saw, they never got up again, which has never left me, that the awfulness of that quiet demise.